gives me a pleasure to introduce our next speaker. When she first came to one of our meetings, our meet and greet meetings, she showered us with questions about our club, our service, and what we were doing for our community. She was, in fact, checking us out. We learned that this young lady knew how to empower people. She was born in the Midwest, earned her master's degree in engineering. Her passion, however, was to help other people with their health, wealth, and life through network marketing. Life was good for this young lady and her family until childhood cancer struck them. I would ask you to welcome Karla Italiano, our club president.
Thank you so much, Len. It is truly a privilege and an honor to get to serve in the Pool Lions Club alongside you, along with you, with your leadership. I learned so much from you. Thank you for that kind introduction. And to the Woodfins, thank you for carrying the legacy of your son so courageously and so beautifully. It means so much to us. It brings us so much hope to have you share your journey. So thank you. And hello, fellow Lions. My name is Karla Italiano, and I'm really honored to be invited here today to share with you our family story of childhood cancer. I do have some slides. If you go ahead and pull those up. Young, are they available? Thank you. And so entitled is Serving with Hope, because it is with hope that we find our power. We do the things that we do as Lions because we have an expectation, a hope for the future, that we can make something better for somebody else. And if you go ahead and advance to the next slide, thank you. I believe that in everything you can find something good in the bad. And in the case for these children, there's no good that is good enough to justify what they go through. It is not fair in the slightest, but it is in finding and focusing on the good that we are able to press on and continue through. And that's what the opportunity we have as Lions is to be the good and create additional good for families who are finding themselves in these situations. If you go ahead and advance the slide, you'll see myself with my daughter, Clara. It was in March of 2017 that leukemia entered our lives as a family. Clara is one of 3 girls. She's a twin and has an older sister. They're all very healthy and strong and very rarely get sick, and so that's why it was odd that for several days in a row, and in fact several weeks in a row, Clara had a fever that would come and go. It just wouldn't go away, and the doctors, the pediatricians would try to prescribe antibiotics, but nothing was working. And I also noticed she was getting weaker and more tired and more pale. She was missing more days of school. And so I had another appointment scheduled to take her to the doctor, and on this particular day, she ended up with strange little bruises all over her body, and the doctor said you have to get her to the ER immediately. So we rushed her there, and after a number of tests, I think to eliminate any other option, it was then that she was diagnosed with leukemia. And that was the beginning of over 2 years of chemotherapy treatments for her, the first several months of which were the most intense. This was in the month of March. She was 5 years old. So she did not attend school the rest of her kindergarten year. That summer she spent more nights in the hospital than in her own bed at home, 2 weeks of which was the hardest time for our family. She was sedated and breathing on a ventilator for about 2 weeks. We're so thankful that she pulled through that. But over the entire course, she had numerous surgeries, blood transfusions, she had allergic reaction, she experienced hair loss, as you see most cancer patients do. And she went through a lot, but there were things that helped. And in this presentation, I hope to share with you some tangible things that did help us to perhaps inspire you to even more service opportunities, as well as in sharing our experience in your own heart of service and creativity, come up with new ideas, and also edify and validate the power of play and the fun of Legos and how much healing power that truly has for these children. If you go ahead and flip the slide, you'll see there was a unique situation. And I want to share this journey to reinforce to you how much power you have as Lions, as people, as simply people who care to show up with a face and be there for each each other. You see, this was before COVID, this was 5 years ago, but it was during flu season. And during flu season, our hospital in Savannah, Georgia, did not allow children visitors into the hospital. And when Clara was diagnosed, they were trying to improve her strength. They were giving her blood transfusion after blood transfusion. It wasn't working. They needed her to gain her strength in order to proceed with her treatment. It wasn't working. This is the girl who's 5 years old, had never been apart from her twin and her big sister. And on the left, you see by day and night, her sisters would wave to her from the courtyard outside the hospital while she was inside. I begged for an exception, and finally, they granted it to us. On the right, you see they got to meet in the lobby for several hours. The very next day, her strength was regained so that she could proceed with her treatment. You all have power simply by being people, by being caring humans to show up for these families and to make a difference. Advance the slide, please. Thank you. The next slide on here is here's some tangible things. And sometimes we think that we must do these huge service projects to make a difference, but I hope I've already demonstrated that doesn't have to be the case. And here are some more simple ideas that made a huge difference for us. In the picture, you see Claire sitting there on the bed playing with her sisters. She is getting larger. A lot of the medications make you gain weight and then lose weight and then lose hair. You see her hair is starting to fall out. It did eventually all fell out. There's so many physical changes which are hard to witness and to experience. But if you notice on the far wall are a bunch of colored blocks. Those are simply cards. We received hundreds of cards from classes, from Sunday school groups, from local people, strangers, people we knew and didn't know. We read through every single one. There is time for that. And we would tape them to the wall to bring color to our room, which would brighten her day. Along that same theme of color, whenever we would come to the hospital, we always had our bags packed and ready because sometimes it was planned and sometimes it wasn't planned. But in addition to the essentials, we brought the blankets, the toys, the colorful things, and those made a difference for us. And when we would come into a hospital room, sometimes there would already be a donated, simple, bright pink fleece blanket or a colorful pillowcase that had been donated, which would brighten up an otherwise dull room and just make it a better overall experience. Both the color itself and the knowledge that somebody took the time to create that and donate that to the room. You also see at the foot of her bed a little bucket, and it says on it, the Mad Bin. So the Mad Bin was something that you can imagine, just the trauma of an experience like this can create some emotional trauma for these kids. Plus, the medication on top of that can interfere with emotions quite a bit. So, and I think this might be great for adults too, but for the kids, they have the Mad Bins that if you can twist it, pop it, pull it, squeeze it, blow it, somehow get a little bit of that anxiety out and that anger. Those are great things that helped us along the way. Pajamas and socks, we go through a lot of those, and many of those were donated. Toys, absolutely. Legos, I don't know for sure, it could be that in Savannah we benefited from your legacy that you've created there, so thank you. And crafts, sticker books, color books, anything to keep busy and to stay creative and productive during the long waits of treatment. Next slide, please. In addition to the things that helped our daughter, there were things that helped us as a family, that is us together in the hospital room at one time. But there were meals delivered to us, both at home from our community and different organizations, as well as in the hospital's organization that once a week they would bring meals to the families who were staying inpatient. Rides to and from the hospital, both for us and then also for our kids. You know, when a family goes through one child having this diagnosis, it affects the siblings as well. And so I had a lot of friends who would let us know about children's camps and activities, and we would do our best to make things as normal as possible at home, while also helping them to feel special too. You know, they know that their sibling is sick, but they also see their sibling getting lots of toys and lots of attention. And so we were so grateful. So many friends would shower the siblings with gifts, and that meant a lot to us as well. So it's definitely something to consider on this. And then a kind word. We know in the Lions, kindness matters. Kindness makes a big difference. Just simply a kind word to a family who's struggling can go a long way. The next slide. I wanted to share with you something that I've collected from being a part of a group called Momcology. It is an online community of, just like it sounds, moms whose kids have received a cancer diagnosis. Some are in treatment, some have finished their treatment, and some are bereaved and lost their children. But these are some common themes that have come about in our conversations. One is that our time together as a family is what is most valuable, always. Also, we celebrate normalcy, the normal things of going to the grocery store, going to school. They all of a sudden have special meaning. To this day, every morning, as I am brushing my daughter's hair and putting it in a ponytail, I'm so grateful that she is with us and that she has the hair that I have. It's created that celebration of normalcy for all of us in our family. We no longer sweat the small stuff. That's obvious. And also, we want to be seen for who we are as individuals, not just our association, where it is meaningful to have that acknowledged. Sometimes it can be exhausting having every single person saying, I'm sorry for what you're going through, what's happening, you know, are you okay? We just want to be acknowledged. We want that for our families as well. We want our families and our children to be identified for who they are, not the diagnosis that they have received or that we're going through. And this last bullet point is actually something that comes up probably the most often in these groups, and it is the importance of self-care. For myself personally, it was part of who I am, a healthy lifestyle, and you know, I had to pivot some habits to maybe instead of going to the gym, I do yoga in the hospital room. But I was able to maintain very well, but so many families and parents especially say that they wish that they took care of themselves. They wish that they took steps to manage their stress or not to gain so much weight. And so that's something just to keep in mind if you're, for example, providing a meal for a family. We're going to be grateful for anything because we're just in survival mode. But if, as a giver, you can keep in mind what this is going to do for that person, that to keep the health strong, the mental well-being strong of the caretakers, that means a whole lot. So that's something I wanted to share with you all. On the next slide, we see my journey into the Cutuli Lions Club. When I joined, I discovered that childhood cancer was one of their core initiatives, which I didn't know previously. And they were working on this project at the time of collecting toys to deliver to the hospital. And in fact, that was featured on the news. Here I am pictured with Linda, who was our club president at the time. And there's a short 1-minute video I'd love for you to get to watch that shows this project in action. And I was interviewed as both a parent of a child who was in treatment as well as somebody delivering the toys. It was before.
You click the
Want me to skip it?
link. Click the
You
link.
just click it, it should open.
See the link?
Okay. If it's not going to work, I can skip over it. Ask for the link, I'll send it to you. But the news did a great feature, and it was really a powerful service project, even for me. I got to hug the mom of a child who had recently been diagnosed who was there, and she was hugging the toys that we brought her, and it was a really special event.
Every February, children in one Savannah hospital got a very special surprise.
You do Alt-Tab.
Hold on.
Do Alt-Tab will change.
Wayne and Cynthia will.
Just hit the link.
I got it here.
There it is.
Yep.
It's International Childhood Cancer Day, and the annual global campaign raises awareness about the disease every February 15th. And today, children in one Savannah hospital got a very special surprise. A trolley filled with gifts showed up right in front of the Royal Health Dwayne and Cynthia Willett Children's Hospital. The special gifts are being donated by the Cutuli Lions Club. The club collected more than 1,000 items from local businesses and the community for months, just for this special day.
A mom of a cancer patient here. It has been so meaningful during our journey to be the recipient of so many other people's gifts, of the blankets, the pillows, the slippers, the toys.
According to the World Health Organization, each year more than 300,000 children are diagnosed with cancer around the world. If you'd like to get involved with Dwayne and Cynthia Willett Children's Hospital, we post a link with volunteer information on our website, www.cc.com.
That's great, that's the end of it. Thank you. A round of applause for Cutuli Lions Club for doing that. That was an amazing project. in addition to that, we have absolutely latched on to the Lego collection. Our club is all in on that. We've also donated blankets, which Rosemary is doing for the veterans here for this event. Previously, some of those blankets have gone to the Children's Hospital. We donated socks through Bombas, and also prior to COVID would do a Halloween parade where we would dress up and walk through. Our club members would, and it was really great. So go ahead and advance the slide. This is our family today. You see Claire there in the middle. She was doing well. Would you like to meet her?
Yeah.
My whole family is here,